What if I told you that many people who appear wealthy, those with big houses, fancy cars, and enviable lifestyles, are actually living on a financial knife's edge? It might sound surprising, but beneath the surface, the reality is often far more precarious than it looks. The illusion of wealth is everywhere, woven into the fabric of our neighborhoods and social circles. It's rooted in a widespread misunderstanding of what net worth really means and how it translates, or doesn't, into financial security. We see $1 million net worth and assume it means freedom, flexibility, and a life without worry. But that's often dangerously wrong. The number on paper can be misleading, and it rarely tells the whole story about someone's financial health. For most people, so-called wealth is just an impressive figure on a balance sheet, propped up by a single, illiquid asset, their home. It's easy to feel rich when your house is appreciated in value, but that wealth is locked away, not easily spent or accessed. This isn't about people lying or miscalculating, it's about how the rules themselves can mislead us. The way we're taught to measure wealth often ignores the difference between assets you can actually use and those that are just numbers on a page. The gap between what we think our net worth means and what it can actually do is where financial fragility is born. Many people feel secure until an emergency hits, and suddenly their so-called wealth can't help them pay the bills. Owning a home can be wonderful, and it's a dream for many, but treating home equity like cash in the bank is a mistake that can leave you vulnerable when you need liquidity the most. Home equity is slow, cumbersome, and expensive to access. Unlocking that value often means taking on debt, paying fees, and wading through lengthy approval processes, none of which help in a true emergency. Let's pull back the curtain on this great wealth illusion and see how it shapes our financial reality. When we look deeper, we find that true financial strength isn't about appearances or big numbers. It's about what your assets can actually do for you. By understanding the difference between paper wealth and practical wealth, you can start making decisions that lead to true financial independence. It's about building a portfolio that's not just impressive on paper, but actually useful in your day-to-day life. It's about building assets that give you options, flexibility, and real freedom, so you're not just wealthy in theory, but empowered in reality. Net worth is simple: assets minus liabilities. It's a basic equation, but it's the foundation of how we think about our financial health. When you hear people talk about building wealth or getting ahead, this is usually the number they're referring to. It's a snapshot that tries to capture everything you own, minus everything you owe, in a single figure. It's a tidy scorecard for our financial lives, a way to keep track of how we're doing. For many, it's a source of motivation, a number to watch grow over time, or a benchmark to compare against friends, family, or even national averages. We use it to measure progress, compare ourselves to others, and set goals for the future. It can help us see if we're moving in the right direction, or if we need to make changes to our spending, saving, or investing habits. But here's the catch: net worth treats all assets as equal, which is far from true. It doesn't matter if your wealth is in cash, real estate, or collectibles. The formula just adds it all up. $100 in cash is not the same as $100 in home equity or a collectible car. Each asset has its own risks, benefits, and level of accessibility. The formula ignores the difference between liquid assets, easy to access like cash or stocks, and illiquid ones, which are slow and sometimes costly to convert, like real estate or collectibles. This distinction can make a huge difference in your day-to-day financial flexibility. This oversight means net worth can hide a lack of financial flexibility. You might look wealthy on paper, but struggle to pay for everyday expenses if your assets aren't easily accessible. Someone with a high net worth tied up in illiquid assets might feel cash poor in daily life. They may own a beautiful home or valuable items, but still worry about covering bills or unexpected costs. That's why we need to look beyond the number and ask, what is this net worth actually made of? Is it mostly cash, investments, or things that are hard to sell? Understanding the makeup of your net worth is just as important as the total itself. The answer often tells a very different story, one that reveals your true financial strength, your ability to handle emergencies, and how prepared you are for the future. For most middle-class families, net worth is overwhelmingly concentrated in their home. Homeownership is promoted as the path to wealth, so people pour their savings and energy into their houses. The result: A balance sheet that's dangerously lopsided. No financial advisor would recommend putting 70% of your wealth into a single stock, yet millions do this with their homes. This means your financial well-being is tied to one local real estate market and an asset you can't easily spend. The home, meant to be a foundation for wealth, can become a cage for it. True financial security requires diversification and liquidity, not just a big number on paper. Otherwise, your wealth is trapped, not working for you. The numbers are clear and sobering. When you peel back the layers of your finances, what you find might surprise you. Most people assume their wealth is more substantial than it actually is, but the reality is often hidden behind impressive-sounding figures. In the U.S., the median household net worth is about $193,000. At first glance, that number seems reassuring, even comfortable. It's easy to believe that most families are sitting on a solid financial foundation. But remove home equity, and that number drops dramatically, often to $50,000 or less. Suddenly the picture changes. The majority of that wealth isn't cash in the bank or investments you can access quickly. The vast majority of supposed wealth is locked inside the house. It's tied up in bricks, mortar, and land, assets that can't be easily or quickly converted to cash when you need it most. Non-housing wealth, cash, retirement funds, stocks, is surprisingly small for most families. For many, the money that's actually available for emergencies, opportunities, or retirement is just a fraction of their total net worth. This isn't just an American issue, it's the same in Canada, Australia, and the UK. Across these countries the pattern repeats. Home equity dominates while liquid assets lag far behind. The headline net worth looks respectable, but the liquid flexible capital is minimal. When you need money fast, those big numbers don't always translate into real options. Most people are one emergency away from needing to tap into their home equity, a slow and difficult process. Accessing that wealth can mean paperwork, waiting, and sometimes taking on new debt just to get by. The illusion of wealth is global, and understanding these numbers is the first step to seeing your finances clearly. It's not just about what you own, but what you can actually use when life throws you a curveball. Don't be fooled by the big number. Focus on what you can actually use. True financial security comes from having resources you can access quickly and easily, not just assets on paper. Real wealth is about access, not just appearance. It's about having the freedom to respond to life's challenges and opportunities without delay or stress. It's time to see your financial situation with clear eyes. Only then can you make choices that truly build lasting, usable wealth for yourself and your family. You might have $300,000 in home equity, but can you use it to buy groceries or invest in a new opportunity? Not easily. Home equity is wealth on paper, not money in your hand. To access it, you have three options: sell your house, borrow against it, or refinance. Selling is drastic and disruptive, hardly practical for everyday needs. Borrowing through a home equity loan or HELOC means more debt, paperwork, and risk. Your home is collateral. Cash-out refinancing extends your loan and costs thousands in fees. Each method is slow, expensive, and risky. Compare that to selling a stock. A few clicks, and you have cash in days. Home equity is fundamentally illiquid. It's not a resource you can tap quickly or easily. That's why it's so different from money in a brokerage account. Meet the Smiths, a typical middle-class family. Their net worth looks solid, almost $500,000 thanks to a $600,000 home and some retirement savings. But $300,000 of that is home equity. Over 60% of their wealth is locked in their house. Their liquid assets? Just $20,000 in cash and $150,000 in retirement accounts they can't touch without penalty. Their cars lose value every day and don't count as productive assets. Subtract debts, and their truly accessible wealth is much smaller than it appears. The Smiths are house rich and cash poor, a common precarious state for the modern middle class. Their impressive net worth doesn't translate to financial flexibility. When emergencies or opportunities arise, their options are limited. This is the hidden fragility behind the big number. As incomes rise, many upgrade their homes, cars, and lifestyles instead of investing in liquid, productive assets. A bigger house means a bigger mortgage and more money tied up in illiquid real estate. More expensive cars, furniture, and vacations follow, none of which build real wealth. This creates an illusion of prosperity. The family looks successful, but their financial flexibility shrinks. Most new income goes to servicing debt and maintaining a higher-cost lifestyle. Investments stagnate, and emergency funds barely keep up with rising expenses. The treadmill feels like progress, but it's really running in place. You accumulate liabilities and illiquid assets, not true, flexible wealth. The visible trappings of success mask a lack of financial resilience. Real progress comes from building assets that work for you, not just upgrading your lifestyle. Imagine Anna and Ben, both starting with the same income. Ben buys the biggest house he can afford and pours money into home equity. Anna chooses a modest home and invests her extra income in a diversified portfolio. 15 years later, both have a net worth of $700,000. But Ben's is mostly home equity. Anna's is mostly liquid investments. When opportunity knocks, Anna can access cash quickly. Ben's wealth is trapped in his house. In a crisis, Anna has years of living expenses in liquid assets. Ben faces tough choices and potential losses. Anna's wealth gives her freedom and options. Ben's impressive net worth gives him fragility. The difference isn't the number, it's the composition. Where your wealth lives determines your financial future. The real goal of wealth isn't a big number, it's having options. True wealth is the freedom to make choices without being constrained by money. Wealth tied up in illiquid assets like your home doesn't provide that freedom. Real, dynamic wealth comes from productive, liquid investments that work for you and can be accessed when needed. Shift your mindset. Focus on financial flexibility, not just net worth. Your home is a place to live and a form of forced savings, not the engine of your wealth. The engine should be your investment portfolio, liquid, diversified, and designed for growth. Break down your net worth and see how much is truly accessible. Once you understand this, you can start building wealth that serves your life, not the other way around.